We begin at 5 with breaking news out of Vancouver, where an Amber Alert has been issued. Police need your help finding 15-year-old Catherine Gutierrez. She was last seen in the area of Northeast 58th Avenue yesterday afternoon about 4:30. Police say there was a fight between Catherine's mom and her boyfriend Alejandrino Soriano, and Soriano allegedly took Catherine. She's 5'1" and 215 pounds. She was wearing a gray hoodie with the class of 2021 written on it. She also had blue jeans and white Air Force One shoes. Now here is a picture of Alejandrino Soriano. He's believed to be in a 2004 blue Honda Accord. We don't have a license plate number. The car was last seen in the area of SR 500 and Northeast 199th Avenue in East Vancouver. If you see either of them, call 911 immediately. Our other top story this evening, the extreme wildfire threat in Oregon. Much of the state is dealing with fire potential thanks to the combination of wind, heat, and low humidity. And it's not just fire that's a concern. I'm sure you've noticed air quality is deteriorating as wind blows in wildfire smoke from other parts of the Northwest. This is a live look tonight over a really hazy downtown Portland. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. To try to mitigate the threat, Pacific Power and Portland General Electric shut off power in designated high fire risk areas so their equipment doesn't spark flames. And that means thousands of people can expect to be without power today and into tomorrow, or perhaps even longer if power lines are damaged by wind. This is PGE's outage map. All the areas you see in yellow are places that are already without power or soon will be. Pacific Power has a similar map. The high-risk outage zones are in the outlined areas. You can use these tools to look up whether your neighborhood is in one of those spots, and we have links to those on KGW.com. We also have full team coverage of all of this tonight with reporters on the ground monitoring the power situation. But let's start with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino and the latest on those winds that have been causing so much concern. Matt?
Yeah, you bet, Laurel. They are still cranking up out there. In fact, the winds won't peak until later on tonight. The smoke is here. It's not going to go anywhere for a day or so. It's 88 degrees in Portland. East winds at 28 out of the airport, which is pretty strong. And look how dry this air is. Only 13% humidity. That's like wintertime dryness of the air. It's almost like an Arctic air mass. Now here's the hour-by-hour wind forecast. As we go through tomorrow morning, still gusting about 36 miles an hour, but then it backs off in the afternoon. I think the peak winds will be tonight, about 2-3 a.m. Air quality has certainly taken a hit. We're in the moderate category, so it's not awful. It's by no means not even near where we were with air quality back in September of 2020 when it was unhealthy and off the charts. But the Cedar Creek fire down in the Central Cascades of Oregon still pumping a lot of smoke, and now it's moving on off to the west. So bad air quality in the southern Willamette Valley. Some of that's going to get transported farther north tomorrow. Air quality is likely going to get worse before it gets better. The winds still strong throughout the valley here. As I said, they're going to keep going. They will peak later on tonight. This is 2 a.m. Watch how the color area just shrinks, and by midday tomorrow, it's largely over. I mean, there'll still be some winds near the gorge, but by tomorrow night, the winds are pretty much done. So this will wind down pretty quickly. We hit 89 today, just missing 90 degrees, and we'll look for those peak gusts in the valley to be about 35, 40 miles an hour. Up in the Cascades, though, we've already had some gusts of 50. That'll continue into the nighttime hours. Laurel?
Well, thank goodness it's not an event that's going to last a long time. Thank you, Matt. We'll see you in a few minutes. Tens of thousands of people in the Portland area are without power this evening. Portland General Electric conducted what are called public safety power shutoffs. This is to help reduce the risk of wildfires with conditions so extreme out there. Let's bring in Mike Benner. Mike, you're in the West Hills.
Yeah, that's right, Laurel. We are near Mount Calvary Catholic Cemetery in the West Hills, and we can tell you that pockets of homes and businesses all around this area fall into 12 designated areas that PGE has cut power to, and all of this is in the name of safety. Early afternoon in the hills of Northwest Portland, the wind begins to pick up, explaining PGE's decision to conduct public safety power shutoffs across the area, impacting thousands of people.
It's extremely frustrating.
Eric Reddy is a server at the popular Skyline restaurant that had to close early Friday due to the power shutoff. The lost business is one negative. The other, what to do with all of the food, including 3 shipments that arrived only yesterday.
I might go out and try to get a generator if there's one available, but we're just kind of seeing.
The Skyline restaurant is one of 30,000 PGE customers losing power for what could be several days. Schools and plenty of homes fall under that umbrella as well. Allison Dobsha of PGE explains the company's call to cut power.
We definitely don't take the decision lightly to shut off power to anyone. We're really doing this in these high-risk fire conditions in order to mitigate those risks and keep people safe.
The inconvenience of these public safety power shutoffs isn't lost on Multnomah County officials. They've actually opened what's called a community resource center here at TVFNR Station 72 on Northwest Skyline.
We have a nice TV, lots of channels, a really comfortable space for people to come in.
Alice Bush of Multnomah County Emergency Management gave us a look around the firehouse that'll provide charging stations, water and ice, among other things, to people who need it.
Every time we have an anticipated incident, what we try and do is think about who in our community is going to be most impacted by this and what do we think their needs might be.
Back at Skyline Restaurant, what workers need is the power to be restored in a timely manner. Until then,
Just wait and see. Limbo. Not going to be fun.
all right, so power could be restored as soon as tomorrow night, but it really depends on conditions. So all of that is up in the air right now. What we do know is before power can be restored, crews need to inspect all of the power lines to make sure it's safe to re-energize them, because the last thing crews want to do is re-energize damaged lines and cause the same problem they've been trying to avoid in the first place. Laurel?
Mike Benner live in the West Hills. Thank you, Mike. Pacific Power customers are also dealing with some shutoffs tonight. The utility expects more than 12,000 people will be without power at the peak. Our Alma McCarty joins us in Marion County. Alma, what's the situation there right now?
Well, Laurel, the first shutoffs happened before noon today in the Otis community of Lincoln County. That's, of course, on the coast. But at this point, there are 7,000 plus Pacific Power customers that have their power shut off. I am currently in Almsville, and so we're talking in areas that are east of me in the Santiam Canyon area and southeast in Sweet Home and Cascadia. Power here at this community resource center is on, this one, of course, being set up by the utility. Here you can get snacks, water, ice, rest in the air conditioning, and charge your devices. We haven't seen much use, but they are open until 10 p.m. unless the power is restored sooner, although that is unlikely. Driving down east on Highway 22 today, we encountered several places with power cut off around noon, around 12:30. Rather than seeing it as a nuisance, those I spoke with say they are grateful Pacific Power is thinking ahead as they look back on the damage and devastation of the Beachy Creek fire in 2020.
I would rather be pre-informed than not. And last time, we drove through fire to get out of our home. They were angry when we had the other fire because they had no warning, nothing. People were jumping in the river to save themselves. I never want to go through that again.
As far as how long these shutoffs will last, Pacific Power tells me it's hard to say. Crews are actively out patrolling lines, monitoring the weather, and how winds are impacting their systems. Now, when the weather starts dying down, that is when these same crews will go back out, clear debris, make sure the lines are repaired before restoring that power once again. And as we've mentioned a few times this newscast, you can check to see if your area is impacted on the Pacific Power website. We've got a link to that on KGW.com. Laurel?
Thank you, Alma. The lack of power also forced some schools to cancel class today, and that includes Skyline and East Sylvan and Portland, as well as the Sweet Home, Silver Falls, Santiam Canyon, Gaston, and Corbett districts. Safety is the key concern here, especially given what happened with the 2020 fires. For updated power outage information, including links to those emergency outage maps, just text the word power to 503-226-5088. We will text you a link back with what you need to know. You can also download the KGW News app for the latest updates. New fires aren't the only threat right now. Today's high winds, they can also help existing fires grow significantly. The largest fire in Oregon, the Double Creek Fire, is now at 137,000 acres. It's in the northeast part of the state, and it's grown by almost 40,000 acres since this time yesterday. Containment is only at 15%. That's quite a picture. There are also upgraded evacuation orders around the Cedar Creek Fire. It has burned 33,000 acres. That's southeast of Eugene. The greater Oak Ridge, West Fir, and High Prairie areas are now under level 2 BSET evacuation orders. This means residents in these areas need to be ready to go at any moment. Today, Governor Brown also invoked the Emergency Conflagration Act in response to the fire that will help support local fire agencies battling the flames. This summer, new state rules went into effect to protect workers from wildfire smoke and excessive heat. They are some of the strongest worker protections in the nation. So are these new safety rules working? That's what investigative reporter Kyle Iboshi wanted to find out. So he asked for the records. Kyle?
Laurel, there certainly does appear to be greater awareness by employers and employees. We found hundreds of Oregon workers have complained about unsafe conditions during the record summer heat. Oregon OSHA, the state agency responsible for worker safety, received 269 heat-related complaints from June through August. Here's what's interesting. Nearly a quarter of those complaints came from restaurant workers who describe unsafe conditions, including indoor temperatures well above 100 degrees due to a lack of air conditioning. One worker at a Medford restaurant complained the heat is so miserable employees are throwing up in the bathroom. The state's investigating. The bulk of the complaints came in late July when record-setting temperatures often soared into the triple digits. To date, 4 companies have been fined for heat rule violations. A spokesperson for Oregon OSHA said there are likely additional citations to come for other companies. In June, new state rules went into effect requiring access to water, shade, and breaks for workers when temperatures reach 80 degrees. Additionally, in July, new state rules went into effect to protect workers from wildfire smoke. Those rules require employers to monitor outdoor air quality at work sites and provide proper masks and respirators when the air is especially bad.